Welcome to our 2017 My Life in Africa Winging It trip. We're currently at Gariep Falls in 38-degree weather. The unplanned plan for this trip is to drive the banks of the Orange River. From there we plan to go through the Richtersveld, a few other camps there, we're not really sure. Gives us kind of 7 days to play with. From there we have no further plans. We really just don't know where we'll end up, so yeah, stay tuned. Today we start the Namakwa Eco Trail. What to expect today I really have no idea. I don't even know where we're camping tonight, if it's a campsite or not a campsite. I know we'll be on the banks of the Orange River, or the Gariep River, which is now called. And yeah, it should be an eventful day, I think. Coming from the east, the Namakwa Eco Trail starts just outside the town of Beaufort.
Welcome to Beaufort.
Being as eager as we were to start the trail, we skipped any and all sightseeing in Beaufort.
3 Ibiki, 7 the Lawn Guest House.
Alright, so we think we've started the Namakwa 4x4 Eco Trail. Not 100% sure. There was a turn off a little bit further back that had the Namakwa 4x4 Eco Trail, but my Tracks for Africa doesn't actually pick up any of the roads that we're currently driving on, so we're kind of winging it to try and get to Pella, where the permit office is, to buy our permits. Okay, so we are in Pella. We found the tourism office, but it's closed. Apparently it hasn't been open in a while. So we went to the police station to find out. They have no idea. Then they said no, apparently you can pay for Lear's drift or something like that, so we did our utmost to try and find permits. But we couldn't, so we've given up on the permits and we're going to just start the trail. So we opted to do Batali Pass, which has taken us to this area. It's pretty cool. Check here. So we're finally on the trail. We did Charlie's Pass now, which basically is a little gap through the mountains over there. The trail seems to go down this way now. I think the river starts over there. It just looks too green not to have any water in. It is super hot at the moment. The temperature currently is, I'll tell you shortly, 39. So I would go, it's a bit hotter than that actually. Barely on the trail and already making an incorrect turn, we decided to take the opportunity to deflate the tires. We'd been told there was a lot of thick sand lying ahead of us. We've got some river crossings to do, so it's going to deflate the tires. It's about 2 bar. Apparently the sand across the river is quite thick. So we'll see. We can always inflate them again, but the air coming out the tires feels like steam of a kettle, really.
You lift my heart up when the rest of
We found ourselves a little lunch stop. It's currently 44.8. So we stopped over there for lunch. Gust of wind came up and picked up my awning and tossed it over the car, and it bent and broke the pole. So we had to make a quick fix of that. There's the pole, some tent pegs, one on that side, and one on that side. But this is our lunch stop. Check this out. Now what we're going to do, now that our bellies are full, we're going to jump in the water, have a swim, and then make our way to Klein Pella.
If you look at the tire marks, they all do the same. I assume the gate's hot for everybody. Use your buff.
How do you do it? You got me losing every breath.
After a few failed attempts, we're now trying to find the river on the farm that we're staying on, which is Klein Pella, with not great success so far. But we think we've got it now. So we're driving down this road.
We're naturally a sensitive area.
These rocks look super sensitive. Not going to argue.
Treat them nicely.
Yeah,
Don't
yes.
want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah, rocks have feelings too. Well, so we've heard. Rocks have feelings.
They say.
Our camp is nowhere near the banks of the Orange River. It's about 10 k's in the other direction. There's a whole bunch of fish in the water over there that are, we think, eating the plants. Not sure. But how cool is this view? Pretty awesome.
Do you know what would be great now, Daddy?
What?
Oh, this was the fish. The time mat.
Today's drive was quite rad as well. Lots of thick sand. Not anything to write home about, no low range worthy, but a lot of thick sand. We drove a lot of little side roads down to the river, which didn't end up amounting to much, kind of like little closed off canyons that we actually couldn't access the river at all. That there is Namibia. This here is South Africa. Have a look at the sunset that's currently lighting me beautifully. There we go. Sunset behind us. River in front of us. Baboons next to us. after a fantastic first day on the Namakwa Eco Trail, it was now time to sit, chill and relax and simply just take it all in. Black sheep of the family. There he is, check him out. Sporting a Nike tick and all. A very good morning from our third morning on the Winging It tour. We stayed our first night at Klein Pella. From here, there's no more facilities going forward. We're going to Raman's Drift today. This camp was okay, other than the noisy campers. We packed up and ready to go. So yeah, here we go. We stayed at yesterday. Stupidly, I left one of my cameras on my bumper and can only assume that it's fallen off somewhere between here and the camp. So now we make our way back to hopefully find the camera, and if we do find it, hopefully it's intact and not broken. Good news, we found the camera. Bad news, I drove over it as we found it. Not quite over it, my diff hit it. So if you look, yeah, you can see there, the battery's a bit bust there. It actually flung off. So yeah, it's not ideal, but it still works. That's the important bit. Definitely this area had a population explosion. One person every 50 years. So after a really long corrugated horrible road to Witbank, we are back on the eco trail and slightly better. Look at that. So basically driving in the banks of a once flowing orange river, or presumably when it's in flood, but you can see it's quite dry now, but very cool to drive. So we stopped just shy of our next stop. We're at Groot Melkboom, which is up there. If you wanted to camp here, you could. Right on the banks of the water, which is pretty cool. On that side, quite a nice view, I would imagine. If you were a fisherman, it would be pretty nice to stand here and fish. Sadly, I'm not a fisherman. The whole point of this route is to be able to camp anywhere you like. This is one of the spots. Would be quite a good one, I think. With time still on our side and unbeknown to us some really tough driving ahead, we headed for our next camp through some of the most amazing scenery I've ever driven through.
find Roman's Drift Camp, and we followed their map and directions to a T, and it seems it's no longer there.
Dead end after dead end, we decided that we'd try and find somewhere else to camp along the river. Roman's Drift had washed away from flooding.
Arrived on the river, finally.
The camp we eventually found was 5 k's east of Roman's Drift. After finally reaching a spot that we deemed worthy of camping at, it was time to do what all people who have too much time on their hands do. Absolutely nothing. We spent the rest of the day in the water, chilling. The tranquility and serenity of Roman's Drift found us delaying our usual hasty pack-up to see our next destination. We took the time out to have showers, more coffee, and then just plain staring. But eventually we had to make the call. It was time to move on. Where we were going, no idea. What we were going to experience, no idea. Another fun-filled day of adventure.
And good morning on our third day of our trip. We're leaving, is it fourth?
Yeah.
The fourth day?
Fourth day.
Fourth day. We're going to Kamgub. Today, apparently, there is going to be difficult driving, thick sand and very narrow passes that we have to drive through. So, yeah, we don't know what today has to throw at us, but we will certainly be finding out very, very soon. Very shortly, we'll be arriving in this town named Good House.
It's important to note that on the Namakwa Eco Trail, the towns you pass up to this point, which are Kleinpella, not really a town, more a farm, Witbank, again a very small town, and this one, Good House, do not carry any form of supplies. No fuel, no shops, you cannot purchase anything in these towns. You need to be 100% self-sufficient. The entire town of Good House took us 49 seconds to drive through. Once through the town of Good House, you're spoiled with views like this for the next 10 kilometers.
So we've come across these two reservoirs. I just had a peek inside. I've just looked in that one for now. I haven't looked in this one. But there's loads of baboon skulls. So presumably these guys can get in, but they can't get out. Let me jump up here quickly. I'll have a look in this one. See if there's anything in here. Let's check at this one. This one's full of baboons. Pretty sad, actually. It's all the little ones. There's no big one. We're not far from the camp, eh?
No.
14 k's.
12.8 k's of those is the typical driving.
Alright. Have a look at the scenery in front of us. It is incredible. Driving in between these mountains is, oh, it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Weird.
Very cool. Still in 4 hard, nothing has required low range just yet. But we'll see. I mean, this is forever changing. This is going to be tricky.
I don't even know what you're going to do here.
Sure.
From about 12 kilometers to go, the drive down to the camp of Kamgab becomes a lot more technical. It's important to get out and inspect all the obstacles you're about to drive. We'd also recommend having someone spotting in front of the vehicle. Some of these rocks are actually quite big and will do a lot of damage to your undercarriage. We also carry two-way radios just for that extra little bit of communication between driver and spotter.
Still good on the other side.
Stupidly on our part, the camera that we used to record the front view of this technical bit was left on the previous day's settings, that being time-lapse of the sunset. We have, however, managed to slow it down just enough that you can see what this section looked like.
Was it filming when you went outside or did you just...
It's been filming the whole time. I heard you singing.
There are quite a few more technical sections on the way down to the river, but for lack of wanting to show you every single technical section, you're gonna have to take our word on it that it clears up and the driving gets a lot easier. You can expect the last 12 kilometers down to Kamgab to take you no less than an hour to an hour and a half.
So the route down to Kamgab is actually down the Kamchub River, and that's the riverbed we're currently driving, is the Kamchub riverbed. It's not 100% dry and it's not very, very wet either. It's kind of like a hard packed mud almost, which is making it a lot easier. I would assume if it was sloshy, this would make the driving a lot more difficult.
After one of the most stunning drives we've ever done down to Kamgab camp, arriving at the camp was nothing short of disappointing. The closest you can camp to the river here is about 150 meters away. And I can assure you, walking 150 meters in heat that exceeds the 50s isn't going to be fun. After driving around the camp looking for a closer spot to the river, we eventually gave up. Sadly, still not realizing the camera wasn't time-lapse. This is all I can offer for the views of Kamgab. I think the disappointment in my face is clear. Having taken half the day to reach Kamgab and now needing to find an alternate camp, we made a hasty exit out of the riverbed with one short little stop for lunch.
Cream cheese, tomato and ham. Om nom nom. So it's about an hour later and we're still on our way to that camp that we left Kamgab for. We don't know, based on the Namakwa, this little brochure that we got. Whoa, driving over trees. this little brochure that we got on the Namakwa Eco Trail. We're now heading to a camp that on the brochure says that the banks are too steep to get down to the water and that many a tough rescue has happened there. We're not going to take any chances. We're going to go down and have a look. We can't access the campsite. Then we're going to go off the trail to Villiers Drift and find a nice camp in Villiers Drift.
Finally, out of the riverbed, you'll find that the Namakwa Eco Trail, well, the first part anyway, ends with a bang. There are low range worthy, steep, rocky climbs to negotiate.
Okay, so we got a new plan. We decided not to go to that picnic spot that's by the river. We don't want to drive another 11 or 12 k's. We came around another corner and there was another huge pass. The passes aren't the problem, the ups and downs aren't the problem, the quicksand isn't the problem. But here, the rocks are really, really, really sharp, and I don't feel like changing a tyre now or losing a tyre just because we wanted to go see a camp that may or may not be nice, and that we may or may not get to. So we're going to head to Villiers Drift. Kudos on finishing part 1, vibes. Yeah.
So we have officially finished the first part of the Namakwa 4x4 Eco Trail. Took us 2 nights for the first part. This is most people's beginnings, the Arts and Crystal place. It is an empty building full of random spooky snakiness. If the Namakwa 4x4 Eco Trail is not on your bucket list, put it there. This is a must-do trail for all 4x4 enthusiasts. This being a 14-day trip, here's some of the highlights you can expect in part 2 of this series. Now we are stuck. That's it, Desi, get in there. Where are we?